night. That means it's time for Haven Comics Shop Talk. I'm Josh Olive with Haven Comics, your intrepid host and person who uses too many big words in normal conversation. If that sort of thing appeals to you, stick around because we're just going to play our intro video and be right back. As always, a big shout out to Nick Saint. Confused two different people, Nick Ellis and Nate Saint, live, so I can't take it back. Nick Ellis for that incredible intro video. It makes us look a lot more professional than we are. We really appreciate that. So thank you, Nick Ellis. Two Brothers Comics. If you're not watching those guys, man, you really ought to be. They crank out content all the time, and their Babylon on Saturday nights is always fun. Absolutely recommend that you pop over and take a look at those guys and like their show, subscribe to it, all that jazz, because they're a lot of fun. Speaking of things that are a lot of fun, I got to bring on my co-host, the illustrious, the one, the only, Alan Breedlove. What's happening, Alan?
Well, I'm having technical difficulties. I'm hoping that y'all cannot hear that high-pitched squeal.
No, not anything other than the normal high-pitched squeal you make when you watch Deliverance.
All right, well, you know what? We're good then. I think I can put up with this. So I do, once again, want to start out by saying that we have had the final dance competition of the season.
Okay.
And the Bug and her team, once again, they scored another platinum, and they brought home another first-place finish in their division. And overall, in their entire age group, they brought home fourth place.
Wow.
So they had a really good dance season this year. I'm very proud of all those girls. The only unfortunate thing about this last dance competition was we had to spend it in New Orleans.
Now, this was a regional thing with national thing? What was it?
This will be more regional. Yeah, nationals aren't until June.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know because they actually do like an East Coast Nationals and a West Coast Nationals.
So, an East and West, that's not nationals. That's splitting the country in half.
Yeah, they do. That's just what they call it. I mean, you got to think nobody from say South Carolina is going to go all the way to LA for nationals. It's just not going to happen. So they kind of split it in half. So they are in a running for an invitation to nationals. They won't actually send out the invitation until they finish their entire what they call tour for all the competitions because they'll hit like multiple states all over the place. So we won't find out about that for a while. Chances are that they generally don't go to nationals just because it's like in prime vacation season for families. Yeah, like I said, though, the only unfortunate thing is we were in New Orleans. Not a big fan of New Orleans. That place is
smell good.
Yeah, that place is so crazy that even the ducks are on drugs.
I believe that.
Yeah, they're real quackheads.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really had to work at that one, didn't you? We just lost a viewer.
After that joke, I don't blame them. I'd have lost a viewer too.
That's it. I'm out.
Yep. Hey,
I was going to check these guys out, but they're terrible.
They're awful. That was probably the one person we had that watches from New Orleans. Sorry.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. So, hey, Tots, glad to have you on board as always, sir. Good to see you. Bill Fisher in the house. What's up,
What
Bill?
up, Bill?
With a Yojo and a congrats to Lily. So awesome.
Yojo to you as well.
Yojo. So, do you want to start with comics this week? Do you want to launch straight into our main topic, or what do you want to start with this week?
So I don't have very many comics, so we can go ahead and knock that out right quick. So store folio, always got to show the store folio off. Yeah, I don't have very many comics at all. I'm going to be honest with y'all. There wasn't a ton last week that I was truly impressed with. Not that they were bad issues, but they were a lot of filler issues, I feel like.
You're just saying that because it wasn't Batman and Daredevil week.
Exactly. Well, technically it was Batman week, but just not Batman title. First, we will start out with one question. Who do you call when you're in trouble?
Depends on what kind of trouble it is. Sometimes I call.
You call DW.
Always Darkwing Duck is always good. Yeah.
You call old DW. I gotta be honest, I loved it. It was a great piece of nostalgia. It was literally like reading a cartoon. I got excited when Megavolt showed up. I don't know why.
Because it's Megavolt.
It was like, oh, it's Megavolt. Why did I get excited over Megavolt? I don't know. This right here would actually be a great comic book for your little ones, your younger ones. Tots, if you're watching, this would be a great one to read the Munchkin. Bill, if you're still watching, this would be a good one to have your kids read you. It's a really fun book. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. Art was good, story was good. Like I said, it literally fits right in with the cartoon. So I can't say enough good about this. Dynamite, y'all did a fantastic job with this. Really good job with it. I did enjoy it. Even the stupid little one-liners and everything. I mean, they were just spot on.
Love it.
And the fact that his daughter wants a cell phone and he's like, I'm not getting her a cell phone. So I mean, they did update it some, but yeah, it's great. This one right here, we have Detective Comics. What number is this? 1068. At first, I thought we were going to have a filler issue.
That cover is exquisite.
Yes, the covers of Detective Comics have been gorgeous these past. Especially, is it Ram V or Ram 5?
Ram V, as far as I know.
Yeah, since he's taken over the story, the art has changed to fit the story that he's been telling, which I like it when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
The standout thing about this issue and why it is a pick of the week is simply because we get a version of Two-Face in this that I've been waiting on for a very long time. Two-Face was perfectly written in this book. I mean, just great the way that they did him.
Now, when you say a version of Two-Face, do you mean like reminiscent of an older take on the character that you always liked, or do you mean just a different take on him entirely that you've always wanted him to have?
I think it's more, it's kind of weird, and it's probably the way that Ram V is writing him, but it's more of it's a really psychological take on him, depending on how you read it. I mean, I could just be kind of stretching for something to talk about on this, but I doubt it. You get more of a dynamic between Two-Face and between Harvey Dent.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, they are definitely two different people, and they definitely wrestle for control. There's even some bargaining going back and forth between the two personalities, and I mean, it's really good the way that Two-Face has been written now.
Nice.
And his story is definitely not done. He kind of got brought into it maybe an issue or two issues ago, but he starts taking front and center in this issue. And something that happens and the way that it all plays out and the way that it ends, I'm actually really looking forward to the next issue to see how Two-Face reacts.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very, very, very well written. To me, this is some of the stuff that I mean when I say character development. I mean, character development for Two-Face over these past couple issues and then this issue was absolutely perfect.
Are you going to acknowledge his comment or not?
Oh, thank you, Tots. Thank you. Oh, you sweet sly talking devil, you. He's the little honey master.
That he is.
This next book, Sins of Sinister #1. I like the cover. And
cover's clever. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and that's about it. I have come, and look, this is the part where I'm probably going to make some folks mad, but I have come to accept the fact that they can no longer write a good X-Men story. What's all this?
whatever it is. It looks like it's on Twitch, so he can't even get rid of it.
Yeah, I can't even get rid of it on Twitch. But like I said, I've come to accept the fact that they can no longer write a good X-Men story. I would have appreciated it if they had at least wrote a coherent story in this, even a bad one. Coherency would have been nice. And your little hipster version of Mr. Sinister is just not working. It's not doing it.
That is a good summation there.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. I mean, you're all over it on that, Tots.
Maybe we should borrow that and just use that for exactly that type of book as our shorthand, and other people will wonder, and then it will be adopted by the community.
Yep. So this is definitely being
Then we'll
labeled
get
as
sued.
Kardashian comic. And have you read it?
No,
So
no. I unlike you, I don't have any hope that they're going to be able to do that in the X-Men.
in the yeah, there are parts in the book where you kind of get like a small one-page story and a couple of blurbs about what happened on this little one-page story. And those were more interesting. Like one of them is they're getting ready for another genocide event that Thanos is going to pull off. They see it coming in advance, so they use, I don't know, some type of rail gun or something, and they shoot Juggernaut at him, and Juggernaut like goes through him like a bullet. And it basically says that Thanos's brains are scattered across 200 billion light years by the time they're done. The problem is Juggernaut keeps on going, and they don't even bother stopping him. They just let him go.
Well, you can't stop the Juggernaut. I mean, that's part of his whole deal. So he was
Yeah.
just a sacrifice.
Like there's even one little thing where Captain America is basically helping, I believe it was Cyclops, and Cyclops is like, hey, you're really good at this. We consider you an unofficial X-Man. All you got to do is give the word, and we'll give you a shot, and you'll get the X gene, and you can be an X-Man if you want to. And you're just like, well, where did that come from? Yeah, then it's really weird, Jay. It's just, yeah. I can't say anything. I can't say anything good about it at all. Other than,
Doug's in space.
yeah, really, that is a good one right there.
Oh, that's Tots. I love it when you're just in the mood for this kind of thing because you're awesome. Holy cow, that's hysterical.
But
Whew.
my sins of sinister that I just, yeah, no, just don't bother.
Kardashian comic.
Yeah, Kardashian comic does actually lead me to my throwback pick of the week.
Dun dun dun.
X Factor #1.
Heck yes.
And why is this my throwback pick of the week? Because
Because
quite
that was the last
possibly
time there was a good X-Men story.
the last time they wrote a good X-Men comic. So, but yeah, these are, I mean, the old X Factor was great. I loved it when it was basically the original team off on their own.
Yep.
I mean, let's see if we can get in there so you can see. You got Angel, Iceman.
Beast.
Yeah, it was just great. It was a lot of fun. I honestly, even back then, I did not like it when they came back to Earth. I wanted them to leave them in space. Just leave them in space and let them just do their own thing from here on out. I think they'd have been so much better off.
Yeah, Jean Grey probably would have died fewer times.
Yeah, probably would have. Scott wouldn't have had to worry about Logan getting after Jean as much.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now I've got some comics from this week to show off, and I'm excited about some of these. I'm gonna start. I'll start up here at the beginning. The beginning seems like a good spot. The new issue of Moon Knight. Moon Knight number, what is it, 20? Yeah, Moon Knight number 20. This has got a guest appearance, as you can tell, with Blade. Now, what's really fun is the appearance from Blade is back in the 70s Blade. So he's got the brown leather jacket, he's got the afro, he's got the goggles. You dig? It's fun. It's very fun. It's a weird issue, I will grant, but it's fun. Um, and it ends. It kind of comes full circle at the end, and it's pretty cool. I got to tell y'all, I have been singing the praises of this book, and I'm going to keep doing it. Miles Morales Spider-Man, this new series is fan freaking tastic. It's so good. I mean, it has the feel of what Spider-Man used to have, what Spider-Man should have. Um, it's not all dark and angsty. I mean, terrible stuff happens. He's got the Parker luck, even though he's not a Parker. But it's beautiful. It's a fantastic book. It's a fun story. And it keeps, even when bad things happen and it has sad moments and things, the fun of comics is kind of front and center in that book, and it makes me very happy. I have not had a chance to read this one yet, but it looks beautiful. I've never really been a big Silver Surfer fan per se, but this just looks really good. Silver Surfer Ghost Light #1, introducing a new character. That's who Ghost Light is, and I'm really fascinated by this.
Can you tell us a little bit about Ghost Light?
No, I haven't read it yet.
No shop owner insider dirt. I mean,
dude, you would be amazed at how little of that we actually get.
Really?
From what I understand, this is his first appearance here, so I don't know what all's going on there, but something. I'm looking forward to finding out. What's happening, Mike Weslowski? Good to see you, sir. And Nick saying Silver Surfer is the best part of Fantastic Four. That's a horrible thing to say, and I disagree with you entirely.
Nick, you need to read that new Fantastic Four run.
You really do. When they don't stop texting completely, just mostly.
Oh, Nick,
That's
I heard what you said the other night on Babylon about how hard it is to read those first Fantastic Four, the original run back in the 60s. If you're just done with that, you can jump on over to Daredevil. There's plenty of room on our bandwagon. I think I'm up to issue 32, 33, and it's been great all the way through.
Wait till you get to the John Byrne run on the book, Nick. It was fantastic. Next up, the first issue of this, I was a little hesitant. I didn't know what they were going to do or how it was going to be any good, and yet it was surprisingly good, and I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm really looking forward to digging into issue #2 of Scarlet Witch in her new series, and I know Bug is dying to get her hands on this.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of which, did she get her her little statue? Yeah, I'm not putting that up there.
I mean, either. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it for a minute. But Tots, yes, you are correct. Yes, she did get her little statue. And I have been threatening to take it to work and put it on my desk. And, it starts many fights at the house. It's been glorious.
You would threaten to take that to work? Do you do that, really?
Oh, yeah, I'll do stuff like that all the time.
I would like to say this next book is, I'm really looking forward to this one as well. And it is a Birch book. We have a Birch book sighting. That Birch you see down there in the corner, that is indeed the Birch.
We need to get the Birch on the show one night to talk about this book.
I think we should reference him as the Birch.
I will.
Blue Hellion, what's happening, brother?
What up, Blue?
Hope all is well. You got to text him and see if he wants to come on now?
I am going to send him a message on Instagram and see if he's out maneuvering around.
You guys all know Alan and I have been talking up AWA quite a bit. And not one of you has checked out any of these AWA books yet. So we're just screaming into the void at this point. But this is the new one, Black Tape by Dan Panosian.
Hey, so for my friends out there that are into heavy metal, it's basically deals with like heavy metal music, all that good stuff.
Yep, this is a rock and roll comic and a horror comic all in one fell swoop.
Hey, what was the name of that Birch book?
Breath of Shadows. It's a straight up horror book. I mean, first thing, I can't show the first page because it's got some things I can't show on here. But it's a straight up horror book. I'm talking horrible monster creatures, um, people screaming for somebody, and then at one point, this is the part that'll really get you. If you couldn't stand, let's see, if you couldn't stand in Star Trek Wrath of Khan when he put the helmet on those guys and it's got the centipede that goes in their ears and does all that. Remember how horrible that was when you were a kid?
Yeah, that was very horrible.
Then you're probably not going to like that.
Oh, I already love it. That's going to be awesome. Look away, Nick. We know you can't handle it.
Yeah. Breath of Shadows is a scary looking book. It's like they discover something that should not have been discovered. And it's horrifying and things go badly. It's not good. This appears to be the cover for the next issue. So you see him looking in the mirror and like, oh, one half looked pretty good, the other half that ain't great.
Oh, dude, that is just like off of remember that one scene in the original Poltergeist movie when the dude was washing his hands and he looked up in the mirror and his face started coming off?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, now we're talking.
If Josh wants to show something on YouTube, it must be good. It's not good. It's just I can't show it on YouTube. So yeah, Black Tape, Mike. That's your Dan Panosian horror, heavy metal, rock and roll comic. This one, I have also. I haven't had a lot of chance to read this week's books yet, but this is a new one called Blood Tree. And that looks pretty good too. It's a great Gary Frank cover. It's also a horror book. There's a lot of horror books this week. And then for anybody who needs to know, she is out there. Bloodline, Daughter of Blade. So she's got her first issue here, and apparently, being a vampiric daywalker is genetics. It runs in the blood. All right, what you wanting to hook up on, Tots? You want to hook up on Black Tape or Breath of Shadows? You want to read a Birch book? What do you wanting the hook up on there?
He's wanting two of them, both of them.
I bet we can put those all in your box because we're cool that way. Birch and Black Tape. All right. You got it. We will take care of that. So, Alan, that's our books for this week. Some of these you're going to pick up, and I'm sure we'll talk about them next week after you get a chance to read them. And honestly, after I get a chance to read a bunch of these. Let's see what Nick's got a rant here. Let's see what Nick is ranting about. It's over daughters and brothers in the same character, just different gender, exactly duplicated. I will agree that a lot of that is completely. It's more derivative than normal, even. Right? They're like, hey, this seems to work, but it's not appealing to the younger audience that we want to woo, so let's just make it that person's kid. Okay. I guess. $7 not quite. Okay, you got it. Hey, man, what's happening,
What's
Kyle?
going on,
Good
Kyle?
to see you.
I'm trying to
We got a fun crew in here tonight.
Well, we might here in just a second or two, like any minute, we might have something fun happen. I'm just kind of waiting. Somebody's asked, basically said they could come on for about 10 minutes.
Did you send somebody a link?
I sure did.
Well, I'm excited for somebody to join us.
So hopefully they
y'all,
can.
If you noticed that I was really late getting the this tonight's show put out online, that it was happening and all that, there was a good reason for it. I was in talks with a potential guest of some note, and I was waiting to see, and I heard back, and I heard back he couldn't do it today, but we're going to try and bring him on here in a couple of weeks. And y'all, I got to tell you, if you've been a comic book fan for any time at all, that's a big name guest. And I'm very excited about it.
Can I just say, I'm not going to give it away, but can I say one thing about him? Shut up, Tots. Yeah. Hey, that's called stringing your viewers along. And hey, Tots, just so you'll know, here's my fun thing.
Welcome, boom!
One Mr.
We got a Birch sighting.
Birch.
It's a Birch sighting.
Birch is in the house. Woo. So take that, Tots. I told you we was going to have something fun here in a minute.
Mm-hmm. What is happening, Justin Birch?
Not a whole lot.
No?
Not right now.
We're live on the air. Make something up.
Oh, I got nothing.
He's got nothing.
You got nothing. Hey, that's something.
That is something.
That is something.
Yeah, and your name is huge on there.
It is.
And when you open the book, it's the same size as everybody else's name. So there you go. That's how you know you hit the big time.
Hooray!
What's the big time feel like?
I'll let you know when I get there.
When you get there, I think you're already there.
Well, there we go.
So I know you said you had about 10 minutes. Can you give us a quick rundown of the book? Give us your thoughts on it.
So from my perspective, let me back up. So this is the third book that Alex and Rich and I have done together. They're not tied together at all. Like, you don't have to read the previous two to get this one. They're all three standalone stories that take place in different eras and different parts of the world. So that being said, this third one is the first time where I felt like I was confident in my abilities to deliver or to match what Rich was doing with the writing and Alex was doing with the story. The first one, in the first story we did, Road of Bones, my whole motto, my whole mindset for that was just don't screw this up. And for our next book, Sea of Sorrows, my mindset was, oh, cool, they want to work with you again. And then this third one, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. Let's kick some butt.
And this is a page here that I think shows off a fair variety in the lettering. You got your creepy voice up here with the jaggedy word balloons and the font and the text. And then you've got your glug glugs and this kind of weaker state, right? And then you got some normal talk. You got a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one you look like you were playing.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It's weird because like the first issue, especially in those first couple pages, like there's these sort of you could see it there, like the centipede monsters coming out everywhere, and I thought that was like a different form of his drug addiction that was being shown. So I sort of had that in mind as I was doing it.
That's awesome.
When you're doing something like that, like on those pages where you're using different fonts, just based on the actual scene itself, do the artist or the writers say, hey, this is what I want, or is that left like solely up to you, the letterer?
It's a little bit of both. I can't remember exactly how it was in the script for this issue, specifically those pages. Rich is a really good writer, so he may have written something in like monster, like do something scary or creepy.
He called you with the line, "I want you, gadget."
Yeah, like
You're
he
like,
like
oh,
it,
okay, that's what you want. I got it.
it's very basic, and sort of he'll write out like what he has in mind, just like he'll just say something like creepy, and then it's up to me to figure out if it works that way when I put it on the page.
It certainly does.
Good. I'm glad
just looking at the word balloons, you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, in
on that page.
This I've actually worked with Alex as an artist on. It seems like a lot lately. There was, I think we have a book that's coming up through Scout that he penciled and I did the letters on.
Can you tell us what that is yet, so we know that we need to order up on a Birch book?
I won't, because it hasn't been officially announced yet, so I won't say what it is publicly.
What does it rhyme with?
We had a I just lettered a book for him. Yeah, I'm on YouTube now. I started my own channel, so everyone should check that out.
I'll pull up this link. So, because Nick posted it, and then I just went and grabbed the link, and I'm blasting it out to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Y'all can go here.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I've only done one video so far, and it was just sort of a live hangout where I just lettered a couple pages and answered questions if they came in, just so people could see maybe what my thought process was on it.
Cool.
And
awesome.
I'm eventually I'm going to do the thing that everybody does, where they show off the books that they got in the mail and stuff like that. I just need to set up my camera and record.
So if you were going to letter something on this, for example, which I got from Tony Harris.
What would I want? Like, what would she say? Is that
what kind of style of lettering would you use for this?
Something simple, something elegant. I also don't do it traditionally. I do it digitally. So like I could easily pick a font that would work for that.
You said something about showing things off that you get in the mail, and I just wanted to show that off because I think that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think I would just have her say, "I know."
Oh man, perfect.
That would be great.
Yep. I knew you would have the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what Nick says. I think you're awesome.
Yeah. So, I'm assuming you guys have both read the first issue of Breath of Shadows.
No, not yet. Alan's always a little bit behind.
Yeah, I always go to the shop on Fridays because that's like my built-in errand running time. Mm-hmm. And Fridays worked out great for me because I could actually go in and hang out with Tom for a little while and, just basically sit around and BS and pick up comics, actually take my time and stuff. So I generally read my comics about a week behind everybody else.
Okay.
And that's also part of the reason why when we kind of do a review, we do them a week behind the release. So that way to kind of give everybody a chance that's already going to read it, they've read it, then we can just go talk about it.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, I think up to issue 3 is done. I think I have 4 sitting on my desk waiting to be lettered as we speak.
So they should be coming on, coming out on time and all that.
Yeah, they should. I mean, like, I just had a Dark Horse book that after issue 2, I think they said they were taking like a planned break. Like they were taking a month off and then releasing 3 and 4.
That's an odd choice.
It's my first time working with Dark Horse, so I didn't know if that was like the normal Dark Horse thing to do or if it was just like this specific book.
It's not normally what they do. They're usually pretty much like clockwork, Dark Horse.
Mm.
Hey, Mark, we are going to be discussing some DC stuff here in a little bit. If you want to sit back, I got a couple of hot takes I'm going to throw out there I think you'll appreciate.
Indeed. And as Tots just reminded me, we need to ask Justin your question from last week that you sprung on Brian Haberlin. Speaking of which, Birch, if you have not watched last week's episode, we had Brian Haberlin on, and he talked for an hour and 20 minutes. Thereabouts.
Yep.
It was flipping awesome.
Awesome.
And if you haven't watched it, go back and catch the Tony Harris episode too, because that one was great.
Yeah,
he
Tony
blew our
Harris
PG-13 rating out of the water, but that was okay.
Yeah. Tony Harris was a blast. Haberlin was great because we were able to talk about those early days when Image first got started.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that one was really good. I think you'd enjoy that one, too.
Yeah.
Also, he showed us a preview of his new comic that doesn't come out until mid-February.
Nice.
He scrolled through the whole thing, page by page.
I was fixing to say, he didn't show us a preview. He pretty much just showed us the entire comic. It was like, here, check
this out. It was awesome.
It really was. It was one of those that as soon as it popped up on screen, we were both went, yeah, that looks good. I like that. Yeah, that looks, yeah. I'm digging that.
Indeed. But yeah, so ask him the question.
Yep, I've got like 3 more minutes, maybe.
Which question am I asking him?
The one that you sprung on Brian Haberlin there at the very end.
Oh,
out of left field.
You know what? That might just be the new standard question for everybody from here on out.
That's a reasonable question.
I think it is too. I really wish the person that this is directed toward was on right now. So, Justin Birch, when it comes to femme fatales, is Miss Piggy a femme fatale? Yes or no?
She has to get angry first, I think, right? Like,
well, I mean, this is like all the time for her.
Well, I mean, like, she's not angry all the time, but when she does get angry, then you have to watch out. So, but I guess it would just depend on her mood.
No, dude, it's a yes or no.
No, there's never a simple yes or no question when I'm involved.
It's a yes or no.
I've got to dissect it. There's much debate that should be talked about when it comes to any sort of question.
She's a ham fatale.
Yeah.
Let's go, Pens.
Yeah, I think Miss Piggy can be considered a ham fatale.
Yeah. A femme fatale, Nick, would be like Black Widow. Black Widow is a femme fatale. You know, think along those lines.
Yep. You might love her, but she will kill you.
Yep. So I know you only had a couple minutes left. That's the standard question from here on out.
Anything else you want to tell folks? Any other Birch books that are going to be hitting the shelf soon that they need to pick up?
So I think I had 2 other books that came out to yesterday. I sorry, I don't know what day of the week it is. The Tales of Nottingham, Tales from Nottingham.
Oh yeah, I hadn't brought that one home yet.
Number 1 came out. I lettered that one, and then there was an original graphic novel from Vault that came out called Bonding. That came out yesterday, and I did the letters on that. Coming up, my first. So I've been doing House of Slaughter since issue 1. Yep. I've also now assumed the lettering duties on Something is Killing the Children, starting with issue 29. So hopefully the book will run past issue 30. Hopefully it won't be canceled after issue 30.
True. If you could letter a famous cartoon, what would it be?
A famous cartoon?
I guess turned into a comic book.
Turned into a comic book?
Yeah.
What about a famous comic book turned into a cartoon?
Either way.
Yeah. I'm going to cheat.
Ain't no such thing.
Yeah. If, X-Men.
That's fair.
So what did you think about Sins of Sinister?
I haven't read it.
No bother.
It's a Kardashian comic.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I'm going to the shop every week and picking up my weekly stuff, and then coming home and then just reading new Teen Titans and Nightwing. So,
God, did you love Nightwing 100 or what?
Oh, sorry, like original Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel Nightwing.
Are you reading the current Nightwing?
I am, but I'm like 10 issues behind.
You got to read it, man. You get to 100, there's a scene that will make you cry. Just have the Kleenex ready.
Yep.
Good to know.
Because it's you will look at that page and be like, "Yep."
You're literally going to see one panel with one word, and you're gonna be like, it's about time.
Oh wait, I that's already been spoiled. I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh, still, when you experience it, it's beautiful.
Yep. And then it also sets up what's actually fixing to happen with the new Titans comic book when they get ready to come out with it, which I'm definitely looking forward to the new Titans now.
Yeah, as I've never read that George Perez Marv.
All the other pages were good too.
That Marv Wolfman run. So like I'm just now diving into it now. I'm like 25 issues in. So because of that, I'm definitely planning on picking up the new Teen Titans book.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, any words you want to leave with the folks before you jump off? Because I know we don't want to hold you up.
So two things. One, please do follow me on YouTube. I do have a channel now. It's just Justin Birch Letters. It's really simple. Yep. Justin Birch
Go over
Letters.
there, like it, subscribe to it, ask it to give you notifications, the whole nine.
Yep, all that.
You want to hear more from Justin? You want to do that?
Yep.
The second thing is, please go out and pick up Breath of Shadows. It's a fun book. If you like creepy horror type stuff, it's really good. Like I said, we worked on Road of Bones together. We worked on Sea of Sorrows together, and I think this is this one is a culmination of all of our previous work together.
I have to say, he's got a good thing going with the titles of these books. 3 words, something of something, and every one of them you're like, okay, that's good. Yep, that's good too. Oh, this is good. Yeah, he's got that down.
Yeah, so if you want to go back, Road of Bones, I said when it first came out that you will feel cold when you read it because it takes place in 1950s Siberia. Sea of Sorrows, I said that you would feel alone because it takes place in the 1920s in like deep sea diving. And this one takes place in late 1960s South America, and you will feel creepy.
Yeah, you will definitely feel creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely
good. I will feel creepy tomorrow night.
Good. I believe, to answer your question, James, I believe that we do have several more copies left, and I would like nothing more than to have to reorder some. So y'all come buy them out.
Hey, quick! I got to put you on the spot. Are you going to be at the Pop Culture Expo this year in April?
There's only one acceptable answer, and that is yes.
I'm not. Long story short, my wife and I had actually planned a trip, a weekend trip in like October. No, when was that? August maybe. And we had to postpone it, and the makeup date for it is the same weekend as that.
I think your wife would love Huntsville that time of the year. It's very lovely.
I mean, we could ride in the car for 11 hours, or we could just hang out at the cabin.
Or, actually, you could ride in the car for 11 hours, drop her and the kids at the Space and Rocket Center, and then you come hang out at the expo for a little while.
I want to go to the Space and Rocket Center.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a personal tour next time you're in town. We'll drive right past it and keep on going somewhere fun.
Oh,
the Space and Rocket Center is fun if you've never done it. It's just for locals. There's not a whole lot of returnability factor.
Unless they're having like some big thing that particular weekend.
Right. Those are always fun. Yeah. Well, Justin, man, we appreciate you popping on. It's awesome. We weren't expecting to have a guest on this week, but we got a great one, and that's awesome. That makes me happy.
I'm happy to help.
All right. Well, we will pop on over and follow your page and all that jazz. Get those numbers up for you.
I appreciate that.
No, always happy to, brother. You have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
See you, Justin.
I
want to jump back up for just a second to this comment. Bill, have you read? I've been hanging out with Tots too long. Have you
Apparently
read
so.
Nightwing 100 yet? If not, that is the book that sets up what's fixing to happen in DC.
It's the launch point.
Yeah, that's the launching point. Great job writing, but then again, I mean, it's Tom Taylor. We cannot say enough good things about his writing. So yeah, okay, there we go. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
My only quibble with Tom Taylor is he hasn't come on the show yet.
I've tried. Some of these people are just like almost impossible to get in touch with. Maybe that's our soon-to-be hopeful potential guest texting you.
It is not.
Oh, I never did get to say this, but this potential guest that we're talking about, all I'm going to say about him is he has killed someone that we all thoroughly loved at one point in our lives.
That's true.
We'll just leave it at that.
That's true. And you can't say that about everybody.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we could say that about Larry Hama.
Yep.
Speaking of which, he's recovering from surgery on his hand. Maybe we should see if he wants to come on. He ain't got nothing else to do.
You know what? If you can get in touch with him and get him on the show, I will be all over it.
No, I don't typically watch things called The Deep. I couldn't help it. It was right there.
Wait a minute. Just hold that thought for a second. I downloaded something just for moments like that. Mark, that's like you'd have to be local to understand that joke.
That's true. That's true. All right. So we promised folks that we were going to talk. No, you wouldn't, man. It's a local thing.
Yep.
Absolutely local thing. If you lived here in town, it would be hysterical. If you don't, it's a total head scratcher. And what's wrong with these idiots? Why do they think that's funny?
Now, I'm telling you right now, Mark, Nick Ellis is somewhere right now picking himself up off the floor after that joke.
Yeah, he probably needs to go change his shorts because I'm sure he just peed.
Yep. So the topic of discussion is what's going on with DC and James Gunn and all that.
Yeah, take James Gunn out of the equation. We don't care about James Gunn. We're talking about what has been announced and the projects that are coming out, regardless of who's making them, right?
So here's my thing. I am definitely looking forward to a already established Bat family. We've gone through his origin story.
See, are you? I'm not. Let's just start with that. Let's just start with it. That's one of the things that has been announced. The Brave and the Bold is Batman and Damian Wayne. Right?
Yep.
All right, I automatically have beef because they have just screwed themselves out of years, decades of stories with Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake.
But
there's no room for a Nightwing in this world.
But do we really and truly have time to build those stories and characters? Because, I mean, like you said...
If you're going to pick a Robin, why in the world would you pick Damian? He is pure garbage.
But do we really want to see a Dick Grayson Robin when we know that Nightwing he's there? I mean,
you can't have the one without the other. Yes, I want to see a Dick Grayson Robin, and I actually think it's the smartest play that you could make. If they're going to do with the movies what they should do, they should make it Dick Grayson as Robin. Let him graduate. Go ahead and have Nightwing. Go ahead and bring in Jason Todd. Let Joker off him. That would be great to see on screen. Everybody would lose their freaking minds. Said one person ever. Dude, you ain't hanging around at my shop. A lot of people think that Damian is awful. Can't stand that. I mean, he is such a turnoff to me. I can't even read books that he's in. He drives me up a wall. I can't stand that kid.
I think it really depends on the story they have going with him and how they're using him in the story. I've read some where I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I read others. It was just like, okay, Why can't Red Hood just sneak up behind him and just be done with it when you just get it over with?
The only good purpose he could have was if they use him instead of Jason Todd and let Joker beat his brains out.
Yep, that would be nice. I do hope that we get some flashbacks of Dick Grayson, kind of mentoring them.
They're not leaving any room in this for that, man. It's a movie. You ain't gonna be no time for that. You're barely gonna have time to establish who the heck Damian Wayne is and why anybody should care.
Yeah, but it's going to depend on how many movies we get with this, with these stories. Because it's not going to be just a one and done.
Well, it will be if it sucks. And it's got Damian Wayne in it, so it's got every possibility of sucking.
Well, the tale is going to be Superman Legacy. And here comes my hot take on the whole Superman Legacy thing. I mean, yeah, everybody's upset. We all want Henry Cavill back. It's not going to happen. My only thing is I really wish, and I've got a reason why I'm kind of on this train of thought that I can explain later if you really need me to. I really wish that James Gunn would stop writing Superman Legacy right now and go back and watch the old Smallville television show. He needs to pay a lot of attention to Tom Welling and Erica Durance, because between the storytelling, their performances, and their chemistry together, and here comes the hot take, they are the definitive Lois and Clark, period. There's never been another better Lois and Clark than those two together. Don't get me wrong. I love the current TV show. I think it's great. I like what they're doing with it, but the way Lois and Clark was portrayed in Smallville, that's what they need to do with Superman Legacy and going forward. Just that, the way their relationship was. So,
first of all, Nick, shut your mouth. No. Unfortunately, I can absolutely see James Gunn doing that. And no.
But who do we get to play Booster Gold?
I don't care. Some unknown person. It doesn't matter.
What about Ryan Gosling? He's dreaming.
Ryan Gosling would actually be pretty good. I tell you somebody who would be fantastic in the role. I mean, they'd never do it because he's already otherwise engaged. But the dude who plays Homelander on The Boys would be fantastic as Booster Gold.
So we were getting, okay, I need to pull it up because I can't remember what all we were supposed to be getting out of James Gunn.
Well, let's. I got a list here. It's probably not the whole list, but we got Superman Legacy.
Yep.
We got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Brave and the Bold, Batman and Damian Wayne. We have Paradise Lost, which is a Wonder Woman-led HBO Max series. Booster Gold, an HBO Max series. Creature Commandos, an animated movie. Waller, an Amanda Waller series. Lanterns, a Green Lantern show. Swamp Thing, and Elseworlds, The Batman Part 2.
Okay, so definitely looking forward to The Batman. If y'all would have told me several years ago that I would have enjoyed Robert Pattinson playing Batman the way that I did, I would have told you that you're all insane. It's not going to happen. Edward Cullen is not Batman. He did a great job in that movie. So, yeah, I am looking forward to that. I don't really know, how I'm going to feel about Waller. I mean, who's going to play her? Are we sticking with the same character? I the same way. Werewolves all day. But what are we really expecting out of Waller? I mean, I would rather see, I don't know, anything else other than Waller. I mean,
well, they're trying to set her up to be the Nick Fury of DC.
I got a better idea.
Essentially.
Instead of doing that, why don't they do Waller and Cadmus? Just bring in the whole Cadmus storyline. There's like a whole argument going on somewhere.
Well, see, this is a good question, Bill. How do I think the general public will feel about this stuff? Honestly, I don't know. Superman, it's like everybody knows who he is. Everybody kind of likes Superman, but nobody loves Superman. Nobody gets excited about Superman. Uh, Not like they used to. They certainly used to, but anymore, people are. Superman is kind of like that nice guy over there. You acknowledge him, you say hi. Everybody likes him, but nobody's that excited to see him, right? It's kind of how it is. Batman. I think they're going to confuse people with Batman, and one of them's Elseworlds, but the Elseworlds is the brand new one that we already know. Uh, that's weird. I think they're going to confuse people. On the one hand, I mean, I think it's a great idea if they can tell me, if they can do the Batman story from the old Detective Annual, where it was he was the pirate and Joker was the pirate. If they want to give me some Elseworld stuff like that, if they want to give me some Elseworld stuff like Dark Knights of Steel, heck yeah, sign me up. I think that's great, but I don't think that's what they're going to do from the look of this. The Joker movie is now going to be one of the Elseworlds movies. Uh, I don't know. I think they're probably going to confuse the public, and I think some of these properties, James Gunn has proven he can take characters that nobody cared about and make you care about them at least a little bit. And I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy was that way. They were minimally popular until the movie came out. So will he take some of these sow's ears and spin them into silk purses? Probably. There will probably be some of them. Like a Creature Commandos cartoon, I can see people liking that. I think a Wonder Woman show is interesting. I'm not sure why a show is better than a movie for her.
And what was Swamp Thing? Is it going to be a show or a movie?
Swamp Thing's a movie.
See, I think
Booster Gold as a show is exactly what it should be.
Yep.
It should absolutely be a show, and it should be. He's perfect for that.
Who voices Skeets?
Alan Tudyk, obviously.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, who else?
Okay, well, we've decided that one. No point in talking about Skeets anymore. Yeah, I think with Superman Legacy and Brave and the Bold, I don't know if they're really going to confuse people with Brave and the Bold. I think it's all going to depend on how they actually do it. Have they even announced a writer or anything for it other than just the title and who it's going to involve?
Not that I've seen, no.
I think that so far, Superman and Brave and the Bold are definitely going to be their two biggest money makers. Depends on the marketing campaign for Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I saw that. That cracked me up.
Yeah.
Somebody posted a meme. It was a picture of Alan Moore, and they've just made the announcement that they're going to make a movie, and he already hates it.
Yep. The Authority. Well, I mean,
The Authority, yeah.
Yeah. Do we really and truly need that?
I'll go online and say the Authority is the kind of team I think will work. Nobody knows who they are, so they've got free reign to do whatever they want, unlike some of these where people know who they are and they have very firm opinions about them. The Authority, I think they can come in and make the Authority the Justice League that they were never able to make successfully.
So do we think that he's going to do to the Authority what he did for Guardians of the Galaxy? Are we willing to step out on that limb?
I hope not, because the Authority is not a funny book. The Authority shouldn't have the sense of humor that Guardians has.
No, I'm talking about
popularity-wise?
Yeah, but making it more mainstream, making it more popular than what it is, introducing those characters and making them relevant.
Oh, I absolutely think that'll happen.
Yeah, to people that have no idea who they are.
James, I see you were asking what the Authority is. The Authority was essentially another take on the Justice League. Honestly, right? You've got an analog for just about all the characters on the Justice League in the Authority. Midnighter is obviously Batman, right? Except that in the Authority, he has the hots for Superman and vice versa. I mean, it's true. And I forget, what's the Superman analog's name in the Authority? Is it Apollo?
I never read it.
Really? It's a heck of a good book. It's absolutely a great book, and I strongly recommend reading it. It's really good. And I think that one will transition and translate very well. Thank you, Apollo. That's what I thought. it will translate very well to a movie. And if it's done right, it'll be fantastic.
So right here, it's the Authority, the Anti-Justice League.
And mildly less obvious about it than shoot, what's the Marvel property with Hyperion and all that?
Hyperion. Oh, I know.
Doctor Spectrum.
Yeah.
Can't believe the name is flown right out of my head. But
so we're going with Meet the Authority. We obviously have Midnighter right here.
The Batman analog.
Yep. And then I'm going to go on God on a limb and say this one's Apollo.
Yep, that's the Superman analog.
Oh, Squadron Supreme. Is that who you're thinking
Squadron
about?
Supreme. That's the one I was thinking. Yes. Thanks,
Thanks,
Legion.
Mark. So who do we have here in the British flag shirt?
I'm trying to remember how I would describe all these. We should probably bring Tom on here to talk because Tom has read The Authority a lot more recently than I have. Tom, you want to come on here and talk Authority for a minute?
Nice.
I'll send you the link. I will say this: if they do Authority right, that'll be a good rated R movie. That's not going to be a PG-13 movie.
So, Tom, I was literally going based off of what this right here said. Meet the Authority, the Anti-Justice League. Jenny Sparks, is that who that was with the?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who it is. I just sent you the link, Tom.
Is this is there a graphic novel out for the Authority or?
Oh man, yeah, there's several of them.
Will you go ahead and order me the first graphic novel?
Yeah.
I need to start brushing up on who these people are.
I will say I don't think that it has been in print for a little bit, although I did just get an email from, or all retailers just got an email from the guy at DC saying, yeah, all these books, we're going to make sure that they're in print so that readers can read them and all that. The Batman look-alike is named Midnighter, and he's pretty awesome. He is very cool.
Let's jump back over here to see if we can get some better pics of some of these characters.
I just sent you that link, Tom. So if you want to come on, send it to you on Facebook.
So is it the Authority or is it Superman in the Authority?
No, that's much later.
Okay, much later.
Yeah, that's much later. The Authority was Wildstorm, and so they got brought over to the DC universe over time. They initially existed in their own world. He does look a little bit like Owlman. I'll give you that. Here's one that I've got a question for because this has been bugging me. Who is dying for a Supergirl a movie? Who wants that?
I think it just, I don't know. It's going to depend on how it's presented. I can't believe that they're actually, not that I've got anything against having a Supergirl movie. I think it's just way too soon since they're trying to build this new universe. I think it would have been, I don't know. I'm at a loss for some of the decisions that they've made already when it comes to what they've chosen. I really am. Considering the long history of DC Comics and what all they could have done, like, why can't we have a good Solomon Grundy? I mean, he needs to be introduced somewhere. We've got characters that literally go back, anywhere from 80 to 100 years. And we're picking, I don't know, they're just picking some bizarre stuff right now. But then again, that is James Gunn. Who would ever thought we'd have seen Polka Dot Man on the big screen? But by God, we did.
So I think it's a little bit less about we're picking out the most obscure stuff. And it's more about we're picking out storylines that has caught his attention within the last 20 years. So that's why he's picking the Grant Morrison run to do Brave and the Bold. That's why he's picking the Authority as a group that is you use the term anti-Justice League. That's really not a correct assessment of the Authority. I consider them more like the more superpowered Watchmen of the DC. Well, what is now the DC universe. At that time, it was the Wildstorm universe, but most of those characters have latched over into Stormwatch and all that stuff, courtesy of the New 52. But with some of these choices, they are slightly off the wall, just ever so slightly. But considering that he says that this is just the chapter 1 of the whole 5-10 year process of them redoing the DCEU, not all introductions are like straight to the point. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a slow burn, like Andor. It takes a couple of episodes, but then once it gets to that point, we start to see where everything is going. I do like the idea that, in terms of the casting, is that the continuity between, say, stuff that's animated and the stuff that's live action. Whoever happens to be casted as the voice actor will also be the same person playing them if they are used in a live action film or series. So I like that continuity gel, because you've had, I mean, aside from say Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, voicing the most iconic people in DC animated. Unfortunately, we're not going to get Kevin Conroy in a Batman suit, and we're not going to get Mark Hamill playing the Joker. But to have, from here on, if this person is playing Batman, then that means that, Elseworlds aside, if this person is playing Batman, then they're also going to be voicing Batman in all of the animated stuff that happens to come out if his character is used. If this person is playing a live action Superman, then this person will also be the voice of that Superman from here on out. So I like that little continuity gelling that he's trying to do, which kind of helps. Because that way you're not having to get someone like Rob Lowe.
I don't know. Rob Lowe's not a bad choice because he's right up there with Paul Rudd for just doesn't age.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, Paul Rudd doesn't age. Rob Lowe is like super hardcore Atkins diet with Botox injections.
Whatever. He doesn't age. He still looks the same.
He is the spokesperson for the Atkins diet, which is really interesting.
Yeah, Mark and Bill both. I just saw y'all's comments, and yeah, isn't it supposed to be like a buddy cop movie basically? And they're just going to have other
the lanterns.
So James Gunn was talking about the Green Lanterns, and his whole idea was that kind of like True Detective, but in the Earth quadrant. In the sense of, yeah, you could consider it like a buddy thing or whatever, but at the same time, what we got within a 6 minutes, blurb that he put out, we can interpret it so many different ways until the thing actually drops or it gets closer and closer to, yeah, I can deal with Miami Vice in space. I'm totally fine with that. But I do think it's interesting that you get the most popular Green Lantern in terms of continuity wise, Hal Jordan, but the most newest one, John Stewart, and then the possibility that we are going to see, a Kyle
John
Rayner.
Stewart's not the newest one. That was Kyle.
No,
Kyle Rayner.
And okay,
John Stewart preceded
time,
Kyle.
For a time, John Stewart was just kind of just off in oblivion, and then they brought him back.
Right, but he preceded by a fair bit Kyle.
Yeah, in his introduction, yes, you're not wrong, and yes, Kyle Rayner was introduced in the 90s, but he's not used as often now compared to John Stewart, so it makes sense.
Are you recommending that they bring in freaking Guy Gardner. Please say no.
Yeah, but isn't Kyle like technically off somewhere being a White Lantern or some crap like that?
Last I heard, out of all the stuff involving DC stuff, I don't really read anything regarding the Lantern stuff. It's just really hard for me to sit down and read anything regarding it.
I've never been a big fan of Green Lantern. He's just never been my favorite. That said, I didn't care for the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics either, but then the movies I rather enjoyed. So maybe he'll be able to take this and make it something I like. I don't know.
Now, see, I loved the new 52 Green Lantern run. I thought it was great, going all the way up to the end where it was basically Sinestro telling the story. I thought it was just great writing. I really and truly have not liked a ton of what they've done with the character since then. No matter which version of Green Lantern it was, no matter whether it was Hal, John, or any of them.
I think my biggest question is going to be which personality of Hal Jordan that we're going to get. Are we going to get, wisecracking Air Force guy, or are we going to be getting by the books kind of guy? Because if it's going to be a by the books kind of guy and you're bringing in Jon Stewart, who is a very by the books kind of character, that's going to be a really boring show. If it's a wisecracking type Hal Jordan with a more by the books, new kid on the block per se, with Jon Stewart, then I can see it working out with them kind of pulling like a, I don't know, like a Lethal Weapon sort of relationship of sorts.
Yeah, I look at Hal Jordan, to me, is always going to essentially be like Maverick from Top Gun. He's got all the willpower in the world, and he's going to fight for whatever he can, but he's also kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
So I tell you what we can do, and I think we'll be able to pull off the perfect Green Lanterns movie. We cast Donald Glover, and we cast
Mel Gibson.
Donald Glover and Mel Gibson.
I think they're too old for that.
They can pull it off.
I think one guy is definitely too old for that ish.
That said, that would be very funny if they had like a cameo.
Yep.
That would be great. I would love that. I thought you were going to say Michael B. Glover, and I was like, yeah, okay. I'm on board.
So if they cast, let's just go ahead and do some fan casting while we're talking about it.
Or Michael B. Jordan. I don't know Glover. I had Glover in mind.
So y'all thinking Michael B. Jordan
David
or
Don Glover?
Who are y'all thinking for Jon Stewart? I mean, everybody's going to be screaming Michael B. Jordan, but I mean, is there anybody else out there?
Had they not just utterly wasted him as Hawkman, I think Aldous Hodge would have been great.
If Aldous Hodge wasn't casted as Hawkman, then yeah, he definitely would have been a great Jon Stewart. But I also feel like the guy who's playing King.
That dude's awesome, and he's already done some stuff for them because he did Lovecraft Country.
Yes, he did do Lovecraft Country, which I'm kind of sad that there wasn't like another season of that.
Me too, but it ended in a good spot, so I felt okay about it.
Yeah.
Nick.
So, okay, I got to look this up, Mark. Jonathan Majors?
That's the guy who played in Lovecraft Country. He's the guy that's playing Kang.
Okay, gotcha.
Pretty sure. Idris Elba.
He would make a good one, but are we going to consider him a little bit too old?
I would think so, but
because we kind of need to cast somebody that can play him for several years.
Well, yeah, so you have him and Daniel Craig as Hal Jordan, and then you're just good to go.
Yeah.
Is this which version of Daniel Craig are we getting? Are we getting a James Bond Daniel Craig, or are we getting a Knives Out Daniel Craig?
Lord only knows.
I think we got to meet somewhere in the middle. We want the James Bond suave and swagger, but we need the accent from Knives Out.
That would work. That would work. But we wanted to bring you on specifically, Tom, to talk about the Authority because we had people who didn't know what the Authority was, and it's been
Yeah.
a long time since I've read it.
So, with the Authority, at least the first iteration of it, is that you've got basically Stormwatch has kind of dissolved itself to a degree, if I remember correctly, and there's only several people that are still left alive after the whole dissolve of Stormwatch. And so one of the main people spearheading it is a British woman by the name of Jenny Sparks, who I guess you could say she's kind of like the Alan Quartermain of the group. She's been alive for a really, really long time, hasn't really aged. And there are other people within the whole Wildstorm universe that end up getting hand selected to be a part of this group. So you do have, Midnighter and Apollo. You have the Doctor, who is a Doctor Strange type character. He's a little bit more of a shaman than a, Sorcerer Supreme. And you have, I think her name is the Engineer.
Yeah.
She is actually is a human, but because of some nanites getting into her bloodstream, she has become a biomechanical humanoid, if you will. So, I mean, she kind of hits that weird bridge between like Vision and Jocasta and I guess a replicant. I don't know, but it's just she's a really interesting character who has struggles with the fact of she's no longer human, but yes, she's probably the most human person in the entire group.
Mm-hmm.
There's several other different characters. I don't remember their names off the top of my hat, but Brian Hitch was the first artist for
Yep.
the run, and that particular comic series was the precursor, and also I could say his job application before he got hired on to do the Ultimates. Which,
Yep.
if you've ever read the Ultimates, you know that is one of the biggest inspirations for the Avengers within Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the MCU.
Yep.
So he basically took the blueprint of what all he knew and how to create a story from that, and then roped it over times 10 with the Ultimates. Because I think there was like a 2-3 page splash in the Authority during one of the big battles, and then of course in the Ultimates you have what was, I think it was like an 8 or 10 page splash. Which was, I mean, it's still nuts to today's standards in comics. You don't see anything like that anymore. But like I said, I wouldn't call them an anti-Justice League. They're anything but that. In some ways, they are a Justice League type group, if you want to call them. But I would say they're more like the Watchmen if all of them had superpowers.
Which the Watchmen are kind of an analog to the Justice League too, right? You've got an analog for each one. This is more like the Watchmen in that if Apollo punches you, your head is going to fly off.
There is definitely that. You don't have any sort of like Dr. Manhattan character struggling with his own existence in solitude on the face of Mars. You don't have any of that going on. Everything is basically boiling down to the point of is that superpowered anything has been going across unchecked. Stormwatch dissolved the way that it did because it wasn't ran properly. So in essence of the Watchmen, who's going to watch the world? Well, the Authority will do it. The Authority will be the hands-on, we are I hate saying this, but in some ways, very loosely, we are judge, jury, and executioner in terms of all things with the superpowered world, and it makes sense for them to do that. But apparently, unlike, I guess, in some similarity, like the Justice League and stuff, a watchtower per se, they actually have a spaceship that is literally the size of a continent.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah, and you don't even see all of it within the entire series, which is absolutely bonkers when you sit and think about it. But as far as I can remember, I want to say that Warren Ellis wrote the vast majority of it. I think Mark
Yep.
Miller did a portion of it. Uh, you know, as well as I'm not a huge fan of Frank Wiley, but he did do a good chunk after Brian Hitch left. And
You couldn't have a more disparate art style from Brian Hitch than
yeah,
Frank Quitely, and that was really jarring and painful.
but it was really interesting when Arthur Adams got brought in for, I think it was like an issue or two. It was, super, quick and sweet, but I kind of wish Arthur Adams took over from Brian Hitch.
You know, I would like to see a good Authority movie that's based on the original story in the comics because it was excellent. But throw Majestic on the team. That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
It does kind of make me wonder if, we have the Authority, if the possibility that's going to start, turning into the possibility of Stormwatch. Do we get the possibility of Wildcats? Do we get the possibility of other people within the, Image, Top Cow, Cliffhanger universe thing?
Well, Top Cow is not owned by DC, so probably not. But certainly the Wildstorm folks, I can see. I'd like to see Wildcats. Stormwatch was always my favorite of the Wildstorm books, and I would love to see that.
So, well, even Brett Booth himself posted on Twitter the other day, the one character that DC's scared to do right now, Backlash. We got to have him back. Y'all need to bring him back somehow, some way. We need him.
Well, as I've told you before, Alan, Booth owns everything regarding Backlash. So if DC wants to hire him to do it, then they have to go through all that red tape.
I wish somebody would hire him to do it.
But
yep.
Okay, so to that comment regarding Frank Wiley, so here's my thing. I'm not disregarding the fact that he can't tell a story visually. He definitely can. I love All-Star Superman. I thought he did a great job with that. My little issue with Frank Wiley is the fact of when he renders skin on people, it gets a little unsettling. Like you start seeing every wrinkle, every piece of acne. It gets a little disgusting after a while. So
that's like comic book artist. What's his name? Jay Farber, however you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
His art is generally good from like 5 feet away. If you put it in normal reading distance, like everybody looks like they have tumors, and it just drives me insane. It's a stylistic thing. He's a great artist. He's a heck of a lot better than I'll ever be. But it's just stylistically, he's not my bag. And Frank Quitely kind of falls in the same place for me. Yeah. I never cared for his art style. I couldn't read Powers, for example. I wanted to. It sounded great. But it's like serious story with cartoony art that didn't fly for me. The art didn't match the story. And then you look at the stuff Quitely did on X-Men and stuff like that. I just couldn't do it. Just not my style.
Mark, I agree with you. I hope they do find a way to get some type of grifter reference in there somewhere, something going on.
Grifter makes the most sense as a character to be in a movie or a show because he's got the easiest costume in the world, and he's a fun character.
Mm-hmm.
They should absolutely have Grifter somewhere.
So, I mean, out of the entire Wildcats, whatever, I think the three that have been reused the most is Grifter, Voodoo, and Zealot.
Yep.
So
Although they had to completely retool Voodoo. I mean, like 100%.
you're definitely not wrong about that. She definitely had to change the wardrobe in the new 52.
Right. And
Um,
her, yeah. Yeah. She started as a stripper, so we're just going to keep her in stripper clothes. Oh, well, maybe we should not do that. Okay.
it's an
They could
armor
just say they were
bikini, I
paying homage
swear.
to 90s comics.
True.
I mean, that's all they were doing.
But I'd like to see Stormwatch come out, and I would love to see. I don't know. I've always really liked the character of Fuji from Stormwatch. I'd love to see him portrayed somehow on the screen.
So, do we think that James Gunn may pull some of those characters in?
No, not early on. Anyway, I think if he sticks to a straight up authority story right from the jump, and sticks pretty close to what Warren Ellis wrote, I think that will be a very successful movie. And then I think downstream there may be the opportunity for some of that kind of thing. But I think right out of the gate, the smart thing would be just to tell the authority story because it was really good.
Well, the
Yeah.
first people are so critical of these types of movies now after spending a decade watching the MCU. The first 2 to 3 movies that comes out is going to be the tell. I mean, we're going to know within the first 2 to 3 if this is going to be worth it, if it's going to work or not.
That's true too. Because he's selling it all as interconnected.
Yes. But at the same time, I guess my biggest warning when it comes to that is, we can try to take this new version of DC Universe and hold it right next to, 4 going on 5 phases of the MCU, and it's chalk and cheese. It's so different that it would be unfair.
Yeah, but you know how.
But it's inevitable. It's like
they're
Thanos. It's inevitable because you're going to compare it to what you know. And I don't think comparing it to like all 5 phases of MCU is likely to happen because, frankly, people have thought Phase 4 for the most part was not great.
Yep.
But I think you're going to get comparisons to the first Phase 1 of MCU, and I think that would be fair.
Yeah, I think it would be fair too. I think what's not going to be fair is when the movies actually start coming out, when casting starts happening and everything, and I mean, I'm not trying to bash these people because I enjoyed it too. The Zack Snyder fan club, they're going to start bashing everything. We're going to get a Restore the Snyderverse 2.0. I see it coming already.
They've been doing that for months now.
Yeah.
So,
honestly, it is time to move on. I mean, I think I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he was great in the character for what they were going for at the time. Ben Affleck was definitely the best combination of Batman, Bruce Wayne that we've gotten so far. He pulled both characters off as the same person. I thought he was great, but it's time to move on from it.
I want to address this comment real quick. For anybody that knows, Aaron is from the store, comes on and the show periodically. He is about to graduate very, very soon from Full Sail University, which pumps out people who go on to work in the MCU. I believe it was Endgame had 86 people who were graduates of Full Sail University who were in the credits of Endgame. And what Aaron has said, there's a couple of things that have led to the quality being diminished in Phase 4 and beyond. When COVID hit and things were locked down and people didn't have access to a lot of the things that they normally did to do their jobs, but they still had deadlines to make. So corners were cut was a big part of it. Another big part of it was, frankly, that the new CEO at Disney, Bob Chapek.
You're not wrong.
They did that on CNN. They accidentally called him Bob Paycheck, and it was very funny. But Bob Chapek was really hands-on, and he was taking something that was not broken and meddling with it, and he broke it. And I think Bob Iger coming in, Kevin Feige has gone on the record saying that Bob Iger is really, really good at being a good shepherd to the MCU. And that with Bob Iger coming back, I think we're going to see the Marvel stuff take another step forward and go back to more what it was before.
Yeah. I will say, which I have said this numerous times, it's not really so much the fact of, well, they've already gone so far off with, Infinity War Endgame, and it's crap from then on. There was actually some really good stuff that did come out of Phase 4. It just wasn't all the time. There were a couple movies and a couple TV shows that weren't the best quality that you could have given them. But at the same time, I don't think that people understood that the MCU wasn't serious all the time. There were a lot of fun stories, there were a lot of fun comics, and they tried to inject some of that to get away from the seriousness of and the emptiness that happened, post Endgame. And some of that did get reflected within the stories because you saw that with No Way Home, you saw that with Wakanda Forever, you saw that with a little bit in WandaVision, but I think they're trying to turn everything into a comedy was not a good idea. They didn't do it with all of them, but with some of them, probably wasn't the greatest ideas. I absolutely loved the Halloween special. That was something that I definitely felt like was a long time coming that we really needed to get because it was fun and it had a little bit of seriousness, but it definitely brought something new to the table that we hadn't got before. And I definitely loved Miss Marvel. It was great to learn a little bit more about the disparity that happened with India and Pakistan and bring that a little bit further into the media because there was some stuff about it that I didn't even know, and it caused me to want to learn more about the partition. So I wouldn't necessarily say that all of it is bad, but at the same time, you know there were a lot of corners that were cut, a lot of shows that were done at exactly the same time, which caused CGI to not be as up to par as it was on the silver screen. So there was definitely that going on. And I'm pretty sure most of that was because of the crap going on with Mr. Paycheck. So um, I am a little bit excited in terms of the possibility of what we might be getting for Phase 5, like Secret Invasion. I definitely feel like this is going to be a good one. But I hate to say it, but as much as I loved Into the Spider-Verse, I'm not going to be watching the second one because it feels like it's just a rehash of hero infighting.
Okay, so there's one thing I need to touch on right quick.
Go for it.
So this one right here, Mark, I got to be honest with you. I enjoyed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought Loki was fun. I pulled up a list over here. My daughter and I both enjoyed Hawkeye. Believe it or not, I might be one of the only few, but I loved Moon Knight. Moon Knight was exactly what I was wanting.
Me too.
I thought it was great. They did a lot of good stuff in Phase 4. The problem, that's what I'm looking at online right now, and it says those are Phase 4.
They are.
Yeah. She-Hulk, I know She-Hulk got a lot of hate, but to be honest with you, it was great. It was comic accurate. It was the sensational She-Hulk. For everybody that wants to say that She-Hulk would have never twerked in the comics, you're right. She didn't. She jumped rope naked in the comics.
On the cover.
On the cover. So, I mean, I think it just comes down to personal preference. Now, they did have a lot of trash in there. I'm not going to deny that. WandaVision
was Phase 4. Loki was Phase 4.
Yeah.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I didn't feel that felt like filler to me. I wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it, but it felt like an episode in the middle of a series. It didn't feel like anything monumental happened.
I think I liked it because it was comfortable. You knew those
It was that.
characters.
Yeah.
You knew those characters. You kind of you understood the story that they were going for. There was nothing truly in depth.
Yeah,
You
and
were
I'll
able
give you
just
all
to,
that. I appreciated that.
yeah.
I really enjoyed Moon Knight. I would have liked a darker Moon Knight, sure, but I enjoyed what we got. I thought that was really good. And I'll be honest with you, I liked Miss Marvel a lot. That was refreshing. It was fun. It had a great energy to it, and I really enjoyed Miss Marvel. I thought I was going to hate She-Hulk because I hated those comics, the John Byrne run in the comics. No, she didn't, but she was on the cover and it was a thing. But
Yeah.
um,
And I don't care what anybody says. Dracula does owe Moon Knight money.
well, he clearly does.
That is official canon now, people.
But I hated the She-Hulk comic. John Byrne's run on Sensational She-Hulk, I despised it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the show because I just needed a breath of fresh air and something light and funny. And that was all it was, light and funny. There was nothing serious about it. No, nothing. Now,
Yeah.
some of the flops that I think they had in Phase 4 that, like, I kind of liked it the first time I watched it, but I watched it again and it was just so extraordinarily painful. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yep. Didn't like it.
Didn't like it. I just did not like it.
The only good thing about that movie was Scarlet Witch, and that movie proved that she should have had her own solo outing.
Yeah.
I mean that's my opinion on that one.
My personal one that I did not enjoy was the Eternals.
Yeah, I think they really dropped the ball on the Eternals. They should have made the Eternals a show.
Yeah.
And they should have started with the 12 episodes, like introduce each of those characters and give us a backstory on those characters so we know who they are.
Yeah.
And then season 2 is a story with all of them together. Because as it was, you didn't feel like you knew them all. You didn't care. And then it was this huge earth-shattering thing, but their whole business of, well, why haven't you been involved in this stuff with Thanos and all this before now? Their excuse for that was pretty hollow.
Yeah. It for me, the Eternals felt like we're just going to make a 2-hour movie regarding a 5-minute explanation as to why we weren't involved in the Infinity War, why we didn't get blipped out during Infinity War, and introducing the Black Knight. That's it. And I just, as much as I wanted to like the Eternals, I just did not enjoy it. So you are right. It would have been a lot better if they had turned it into like a limited series, a little bit more with the backstory with some of the characters, introducing them one by one. Zero reason why we should be introducing Star Fox of all people.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah,
I did like the. Yeah, it really wasn't an introduction, but for those that know, I did like the way they kind of hinted at Black Knight there toward the end.
And Blade.
Yeah, and Blade. I thought that was good, but then we've heard nothing else since then. So, what's going to happen with those characters?
I mean, we're still supposedly getting a Blade movie. It's apparently there was just a problem with either the production or
it was the script.
It was the script. That's what
it was the script, and that was largely a Bob Chapek thing. That now that he's out of the picture, Mahershala Ali is a lot happier with the direction that it's going. But I think punting on that and pushing that back and doing it right was a much better decision than making a crappy movie.
Yeah, and I agree, James. Harry Styles is Star Fox. And they've even said that they're not done with that character, so he'll be back sooner or later.
You mean Harry Styles?
Yeah. Okay. He'll be back in some capacity. I have a 12-year-old daughter. Trust me on that. Don't make me unleash her when it comes to her Harry Styles and back, whatever the hell they are.
And so many people walked out on the Blade movie. I don't know what you're talking about, man, because the Blade movie was awesome.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have an MCU if it hadn't been for the Blade movie years before that.
These are some really, really weird hot takes.
Well, speaking of hot takes, we've wandered pretty far afield from DC and their slate that they've announced. And you said you had some things that you were going to hop out on and say. So, Alan, what you got on? Pick a DC thing and go.
So right off the bat, I already threw one of them out there. They need to go after the Lois and Clark vibe that they had in the Smallville television show. That was predominantly the best Lois and Clark that we've had. In my opinion, the definitive Superman is Christopher Reeves. He is the best Superman that we ever had. He played both characters perfectly, Superman and Clark Kent. They need to try to channel those. I thoroughly enjoyed Man of Steel. I loved what Scott Snyder did with all that. No, not Scott Snyder. That's his name. Snyder. Whatever his name is. The Snyderverse dude. I loved Zack Snyder. I loved what he did with Man of Steel. Everything else after there, sorry, Josh Whedon, you screwed the pooch on all of it. I mean, you destroyed our pretty little toy that we had going there for a while. They need to get back to the earlier times before Zack Snyder made it all serious. Yes, those characters have always been more serious than Marvel has. A lot of those storylines have been a lot darker. I mean, they've been a lot deeper.
Having Superman be dark and Batman be dark makes no sense. Superman should represent light and hope and good, and Batman is what happens in the shadows of light and hope and good, right?
Exactly.
And when you put them together, that makes for good storytelling. But when you put dark Superman together with dark Batman, you get literally DC movies of it's so dark I can't see what's happening on the screen.
Exactly. And they need to get away from that. They need to go yeah, and no, I mean Mark.
That's a perfect distinction, yes.
Yeah, I mean he played a great Superman. Christopher Reeves is Superman, and I think they kind of need to get back to that Christopher Reeves style Superman. Then on top of that, they don't need to make a Justice League movie. There does not need to be a Justice League movie. I hope they don't go anywhere near Justice League. Let them show up in each other's movies. Let them have maybe a little cameo or something. If you're going to do a Justice League movie, do Justice League dark and make it rated R. Make it a legit horror movie.
You just want to see Detective Chimp.
That's all I want to see.
You're not even asking for Justice League. You're asking for Justice League Dark.
Exactly.
Right. He wants Zatanna, Swamp Thing, and
Constantine. They can even bring Dr. Fate into it. They can do so much more with Justice League Dark than they could with an actual Justice League movie. And that's my personal opinion on that. I think that we've kind of, as far as the movies are concerned, they've ruined any chance that they had at a true Justice League movie. They need to move away from it, kind of let their stories intertwine, but never bring them completely together as a true Justice League. And if they do, make it way on down the road. Don't do it anytime soon.
So the big problem with having the whole dark Superman thing that they were trying to do and push was, if I remember correctly, when they were rolling out Man of Steel, New 52 was still in production, correct?
Believe so, yes.
Okay. So they're using the costume design of New 52 Superman, which, if I remember correctly, he was pretty angsty from the stuff that I read. Superboy more so, but I just feel like they were pushing Cable in the wrong direction with the wrong type of personality.
Yeah.
For Superman, and so that was the one thing that I just definitely made me feel a bit more detracted from really getting into it the way that I would have liked to. And if you want to watch like Dark Superman, you might as well just watch The Boys.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
You might as well.
And that's a good point there too, James.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see you know, crime syndicate uh showdown between you know, the Justice League. That would be a fun one to watch. Which, I mean, they made an animated one of it, but
All right, so something we haven't really talked about yet. We just kind of mentioned it in passing. They're doing a Wonder Woman Historia as a series on HBO Max.
Paradise
Why
Lost.
does two things? One, why does Wonder Woman get relegated to a series on HBO rather than a movie? And two, um, when they say Historia, are they drawing for? Is it just because it's a cool title, or are
Okay,
they drawing from this 3-issue oversized format that we just got?
okay, so what I have been seeing a lot is that there's been a lot of people pushing for Wonder Woman Historia to be used as Paradise Lost, and um, so I think that's rumor. The only thing that has been confirmed is that uh, Gunn wanted a Wonder Woman series that was on Paradise Island and revolving things regarding with Paradise Island. Which, I mean, there are plenty of Wonder Woman stories where that was the thing before Wonder Woman Historia. Whether or not they're going to be pushing Historia or using bits and pieces of Historia as added lore to the storyline, I have no freaking clue. But I have been seeing a lot of rumors popping up on Twitter that, you know, tagging James Gunn and be like, hey, you better use Wonder Woman Historia as your thing for this series. And I feel like that's coming off a bit as toxic as the whole hashtag restore the Snyderverse. um, you know, because at the end of the day, I think he knows the vision of what he wants to do with it. But uh, that's really all that I know regarding that series.
Why do you suppose they wanted to make that a series instead of a movie?
Probably because of how bad 84 did.
Granted, that was atrocious.
And
Yes.
plus, with a series like that, because and if I understood it correctly, the whole thing takes place like long before Diana is born. Correct?
If we're,
So it's not Wonder Woman. Got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so with doing a series like that,
They should just call it Themyscira and be done with it.
yeah, they can really and truly flesh out the story. They can build, you know, they can build a bigger story over a longer period of time, and then build up to Wonder Woman. So that's why, I mean, I think it's a good idea to make that as a series instead of a movie.
If that's what it is, then I like that too.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it in terms of like all this stuff happening on the island before Diana is created, and that is the introduction to Diana. I can definitely see that happening. I'd be down
Yeah.
for that.
So that, I mean, that was my understanding of it. And I mean, I could be wrong.
I really enjoyed the first act of the first Wonder Woman movie, where it was all set on Themyscira. I thought that was great. The only part of that movie I thought was a little bit on the weak side was the ending, which was a classic. We told this story, but now we don't know how to end it.
Yep.
Let's just make it a big superhero fight, and then let Steve Trevor die the same way as Steve Rogers. Cool, let's do that. That part, I that was weak. The rest of the movie was really good, and it was strong enough that I thought that it overcame any deficiencies in the third act. Wonder Woman 84, you're right. That just left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and that may be why they're starting differently there.
See, there was one part of Wonder Woman 84 that I liked, and that was when it showed
When
her.
it said the end?
No, when it showed her as a little girl and they were running the obstacle course during the games.
Right.
I thought that was cool. I enjoyed that.
I agree with that.
The games was a good part. I will admit to that.
And then from there on out, it was just kind of, what the, huh? No, stop, please. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than the games, that movie really did nothing else.
So rapid fire here as we get ready to wrap the show up. Of all of the things that were announced, which one, if you had to just pick down to one of them, which one are you most excited about? Which one are you like? I want to see that.
Swamp Thing.
I knew you was going to say that. If the Authority was not announced, I would definitely be in agreement with Alan and say Swamp Thing. But because the Authority we're getting a Wildstorm universe thing on the silver screen, I'm going to say Authority.
Okay. For me, I'm really looking forward to Authority quite a lot. Swamp Thing, I'm looking forward to quite a lot. The one that I'm kind of most interested in seeing if they can pull it off the right way and hoping to goodness they can, and it's because I've been lobbying for it for a really long time, is Booster Gold. I think Booster Gold has all the potential in the world to be. It's such a perfect setting, and them making that one a series makes perfect sense. I'm really excited to see Booster Gold.
I mean, I'm okay. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing a fully functioning, dysfunctional Bat family. I am looking forward to that. I want to see how they do it. I am looking forward to Superman Legacy. I want to see, this is supposed to be going with a younger Superman. If they're going to stick to what they were saying earlier, yeah, those are definitely gimmies. The gimmies. The Swamp Thing. I grew up I was born in the 70s. So I remember when that Swamp Man movie came out in the early 80s.
Swamp Thing movie, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that thing. I remember those creatures actually scaring me a little bit as a kid. I watch it today and I'm like, oh my God, I was scared of that. I enjoyed the Swamp Thing CW show, though. What, one season that it had?
The brief, like 6 episodes that it got.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think that
that wasn't CW though, was it? That was on. Was it CW?
Yeah, it was CW, and because of like ratings and none of yours, whatever, it got canned because they were just like, "There's no way possible we can put this on the CW," because it was pushing TV14 into TVMA.
Yeah, it was actually on their streaming service.
Okay, that's what it was. I thought it was on a streaming service. I didn't think it was just straight up on.
It was on air.
Yeah, it was on their streaming service originally, and they didn't have as many subscribers on their streaming service as what they thought they would. So they ended up pushing it out to on air, and I think there was only a couple of episodes that actually made it to TV.
Yeah,
and then you could actually download the CW app for free and watch it on their app for free right now. And I mean, it was really good. Yes, it was dark. I mean, it
should be.
It had some horror elements to it. It's what you want in a Swamp Thing. So I do want to see how they do the movie.
So,
no, you're boo-boo.
I don't even want to know.
Having adult arguments. That's what this show's known for.
That's right. That's what we do.
I think one of you is an adult. The other is questionable.
Oh no, there's no question.
I like how he doesn't specify which one though.
Nope.
I'm so glad you caught on to that.
Now we're going to argue about that.
Nope. I stopped at 17. I have literally been telling people that for years.
I stopped on the edge of 17.
Oh, my child, you will get there. You will get there.
He better learn how to grow that beard and mustache better first, though. I've never seen anybody who like naturally grows a Hitler mustache.
He's got like a reverse Hitler mustache.
Is that what he's got going on now?
Yeah, it's like some type of reverse Hitler thing.
So honestly, you mean the Ming the Merciless mustache?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of looks like when my daughter was a toddler and she would have the chocolate all over her face smeared. Yeah.
Now, we can't be picking on Nick now. Nick is a good-looking man. And apparently he's been working out like a freaking boss. I bet he could whoop all over our butts now.
He's dreamy. Oh, hey, so actually, for those of y'all that know this, a long time ago, Two Brothers YouTube channel, they had this big push that if they got to like 5,000 subscribers in a certain amount of time, Nick and Dustin were going to box each other.
Like in the ring with the gloves, punching each other in the face. Yeah.
So I have like come up with something that Josh and I can do. And what we'll do is we're at 199 subscribers right now,
Which is pitiful.
If y'all can help us get to 500 subscribers by Memorial Day, Josh and I will sit down and share a pizza together live on air.
That's a promise.
Yeah,
I was hoping that you were going to say sumo wrestling.
I
would
was
pay
told
money for that.
I was told that people would pay money not to see me in the sumo diaper.
I tell you what, if y'all can get us to 1,000 subscribers by Christmas, Josh and I will rent the big blow-up sumo suits and we'll wrestle each other in front of the store. But I'm giving y'all plenty of time. 1,000 subscribers by Christmas.
I like Kyle. Hit that like button on the way out. Kyle wants to see that.
But hey, 500 subscribers by Memorial Day, and Josh and I will have a Sticky Fingers pizza from Terry's live on the air.
Oh, man, heck yes.
It's about the best I can do, y'all, right now. 1,000 by Christmas, and we are sumo wrestling at the shop.
Yeah, Nick just sent me a picture of his face.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-mm.
Look, got dirt on it.
I tell you though, you better best watch out. That dude has been working out. He's like a freaking boss right now. He's back in his football playing kind of strength. Indeed. Well, guys, I think it is about time for us to sign off for the week. So, yeah, make like Kyle said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't. That does help us out. Somebody push us up to 200 subscribers for the love of all things holy. But yeah, get us to 500. We'll eat a pizza. We'll share it on the air. Get us to 1,000, and we will sumo wrestle in those big old inflatable suits in the parking lot at the store. And that will be absolutely ridiculous and also hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I will one up that. If you can get to 750, I will do the Sprite challenge.
You'll do the what challenge?
The Sprite challenge.
What is that?
It's basically you're chugging down an entire thing of Sprite without throwing up.
Hey, I got a better
That
idea.
should be doable, right? How much Sprite are we talking?
I'm not sure. The rules vary.
Would you rather do the Sprite challenge for 750 subs, or would you rather draw Josh as shirtless bear fighter for 750 subs?
We're doing that.
Oh, great.
Live.
Thank you for that. Thanks, Alan. On that note, 20 ounces of Sprite. Yeah. Any day, partner. But are you supposed to drink it through your nose, or what's the deal?
No, you're supposed to chug it down, and the problem is that there's so much carbonation in Sprite that you're going to end up belching the entire time, if not barfing. So the results are hilarious.
Yep.
There's one is these two Australian girls trying to do it in their car, and one of them just lets out this exorcism of a burp, and the other girl ends up spewing her Sprite all inside of her car.
Nasty.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Now, drinking a gallon of milk and keeping that down for an hour, that's fun. Because the milk is a base and your stomach is acid, and it's like, no, get this out of here. And yeah, it'll make you feel not so great. I didn't puke from that, but I probably should have. I would have been better off. So yeah, we're talking about the fun stuff now. But anyway, if you want to see me a shirtless bear fighter, which you do not want to see, but if you want to see me a shirtless bear fighter, get us to 750 subs. If you want to see Alan and I sumo wrestle in the parking lot at the store, get us to 1,000. Get us to 5,000. We'll sumo wrestle inside the store.
But hey, notice,
there's not a lot of room in there, so that would probably be funny and damaging.
But notice he didn't say whose store we would sumo wrestle in.
That's right. We're going to Walmart.
Exactly.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for sticking around with us. Always great talking with y'all, and we will catch you next time.